Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or medic?
I need police. Somebody just been in my house. I came home and I had a woman in my house, and I pulled out my gun and and she's not moving.
How old is she?
I have no idea. I don't even know the woman. She's inside my house in the hallway on the floor.
Is she flat on her back?
No, she's on her stomach. I can try to move her on her back. My husband told me don't touch her. Oh God, what did I do? What did I do?
On the early morning of July 18th, 2023, a married woman caught 25-year-old Tyra in bed with her 50-year-old husband. This was the most shocking sight she had ever seen in their house. Tyra, the young woman she caught, claimed that she had just been invited to the house and did not know the man was married. Tyra's mother also narrated the same story in this video.
Lured to a home and brutally beaten, and she was invited there. She did not just pop up there. She was not an intruder. She was invited there.
But the married woman did not care, and what she did to Tyra right at that moment changed her life forever. This is the story of Tyra Chanel Crosby. For you to understand the people in this crime story, let us look at their backgrounds up to the moment their paths crossed each other. Tyra Chanel Crosby was born on August 28, 1997, which made her 25 years old at the time of this shocking incident. She lived in Northwest Charlotte, North Carolina, with her mother, Tanya Hoskins. Tyra wasn't like others. She was known for her infectious spirit and a heart full of dreams. Family and friends remember her as someone who was full of life and an outgoing person, but little did she know that this outgoing character would lead her to a married family and deadly ending. Despite her warm heart and dreams, Tyra faced personal struggles that led to several encounters with law enforcement. Her legal troubles began in 2018 with charges of simple battery and assault. More serious charges followed in 2021, including assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill and discharging a firearm into an occupied property. Additional incidents occurred in 2022 and March 2023, involving simple assault and communicating threats. However, according to those closest to her, Tyra had been working to turn her life around. Her family and friends recall how she maintained her caring and compassionate nature throughout her challenges, continuing to touch lives with her outgoing personality and genuine desire to help others. Just like many girls her age, Tyra was looking for a stable relationship, but because of her troubling past, Tyra could not find someone to accept her, even when she hung out with people of different colors. As a result, she lived a single life and made personal decisions, some that led her to different wrong paths. However, her resilience paid off. Tyra found one man who completely changed her life. Although this would not be the man to save her life on that fateful day, this was a young man who matched exactly what she was looking for, and they enjoyed a long, good time together. In fact, she often shared some of the moments on her social media.
Who's the better cook? Who said I love you first? Who takes longer to get ready in the morning? Who's the grumpier one in the morning? Who's more stubborn? Who's the bigger baby when sick? Who's the social butterfly? Who's the messy one? Who works out more? Who requires more attention?
All was going well with this relationship until Tyra met another man. They hooked up very quickly, but she did not know what we now know about this man. 50-year-old Albert Alexander Albert had been married to 51-year-old Stephanie Alexander and lived together for years in their home in Charlotte, North Carolina. This was not Stephanie's first family at the time of their marriage. Stephanie had 5 children from a previous relationship, therefore. Albert had embraced her children, playing the role of a devoted stepfather. However, his apparent loyalty at home belied his actions one night. On July 17, 2023, Tyra, an outdoor enthusiast, decided to unwind by visiting a local club. She was there by herself and had bought a few drinks for herself, and all was fun for her at the club. But she was about to meet another person to make her day even better, or maybe a man that would make it the last day she would ever step foot in a club. This man was 50-year-old Albert Alexander, who allegedly was in the same club by himself and easily connected with Tyra. They had a few drinks, some dancing, and engaged in a long conversation. Albert's wife, Stephanie, a mother of 5 children, had a job and worked different shifts to support her children. Her shifts had been well known to Albert. Therefore, he knew when his wife left for work and the time she would return. So, towards the middle of the night at a club, Albert invited Tyra to his home. Unbeknownst to her, Albert was married and lived with his wife, 51-year-old Stephanie Alexander, who happened to be away at the time. At this point, we don't know if Tyra's response was influenced by the drinks she had taken or the conversations they had earlier. Tyra accepted Albert's home invitation, completely unaware of his marital status. What seemed like an innocent decision would tragically set the stage for a deadly encounter. Later that evening, Tyra arrived at the Alexander residence where she and Albert continued their interactions from the club, eventually heading to the bedroom. But the night took a devastating turn for them when Stephanie returned home unexpectedly around 5 a.m. on July 18th, 2023. Bursting through the door, she was met with the shocking sight of Tyra in her bed with her husband. Overcome with rage and betrayal, Stephanie allegedly rushed to Tyra, grabbed her, and started preparing her for the worst experience. Tyra tried to call her mom for help during the assault. Unfortunately for her, the call went to voicemail, leaving behind an audio recording of her final moments. The voicemail captured the sounds of Tyra being brutally attacked before she was ultimately shot and killed. A voicemail message later recovered by investigators was never made public. It suggests she endured assault, torture, and ultimately was shot after an extended period of suffering. At 5:21 a.m., Stephanie placed a call to 911, reporting to the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department that she had shot a woman found inside her home. When officers arrived at the Alexander residence, Stephanie directed them to where Tyra's body was. Officers met a very devastating scene. Tyra lying dead, and her body had signs of torture and gunshot wounds. The officers immediately took Stephanie to their headquarters for questioning as the primary suspect. Her husband, Albert Alexander, was also interviewed, providing his account of the events. Following these interviews, authorities charged Stephanie with voluntary manslaughter. She was processed at the Mecklenburg County Jail on Tuesday, July 18th, at approximately 6 a.m. Despite the severity of the charges, she was released the same day at 2 p.m. after posting a $250,000 bond. Surprisingly, her husband, Albert Alexander, faced no charges, though many believe his actions were the catalyst for this tragedy. Tyra Crosby's family, particularly her mother, Tanya Hoskins, was deeply infuriated by the circumstances surrounding her daughter's death. Tanya submitted the voicemail evidence to the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, CMPD, urging them to consider upgrading the charges against Stephanie Alexander.
Right now, she's charged with the lowest form of murder. I want it up to first-degree murder.
She firmly believed her daughter was intentionally killed and argued that the charges warranted escalation to first-degree murder. Tanya emphasized that Tyra was not an intruder in the Alexander home. She had been invited inside by Stephanie's husband, Albert Alexander.
She was invited there. She did not just pop up there. She was not an intruder. She was invited there.
In her view, invalidated any claims of self-defense. She believed this was a premeditated act and sought justice accordingly. Tanya revealed to investigators that on the tragic morning of July 18th, Tyra had attempted to call her for help during the assault and alleged that the incident was a deliberate setup. She claimed Stephanie Alexander orchestrated the situation, luring Tyra into the home with the intent to kill her. Initially, there had been speculation that Tyra had broken into the house due to her prior legal troubles, but evidence later confirmed that was not the case. On August 3, 2023, the Mecklenburg County Grand Jury indicted Stephanie Alexander for the second-degree murder of Tyra Crosby after reviewing the voicemail evidence submitted by Tyra's mother, Tanya Hoskins. Questions remain unanswered about the nature of Tyra's relationship with Albert Alexander, Stephanie's husband. How long had she known him? Was she aware of his marital status? Had she visited the Alexander home before the tragic night of her murder? In memory of Tyra, a vigil was held on Sunday, July 23, 2023, at a local park in Charlotte, North Carolina. Friends, family, and members of the community gathered under the gentle glow of candles to honor her life, tragically cut short Attendees shared heartfelt memories of Tyra's laughter, kindness, and unwavering loyalty.
She was beautiful. Her soul, her spirit, inside and out.
She gonna be our angel on our shoulder.
Deeply affected by the violence that claimed her life, Tyra's mother, Aniya Hoskins, addressed the crowd with a voice full of emotion. She vowed to fight tirelessly for justice, ensuring that her daughter, Tyra's death, would not be in vain. Aniya Hoskins spoke passionately about her daughter Tyra's dreams and the vibrant life she should have lived, conveying the profound loss her family now endures. Attendees of the vigil offered prayers and heartfelt support for Aniya's ongoing quest for answers and accountability. Tyra Chanel Crosby, just 25 years old, was laid to rest on July 24th at the Greater Temple Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Stephanie Alexander faces trial for second-degree murder, a charge significantly more severe than voluntary manslaughter, which carries minimal punishment. The upgraded charge reflects the prosecution's stance that Stephanie's actions, while not premeditated, demonstrated a depraved indifference to human life. In the end, the unfaithful husband walks free, while the consequences fall elsewhere. We can only hope that Tyra Crosby receives the justice she deserves. What do you think? How much responsibility should be placed on Stephanie Alexander for her reaction? And do you believe her actions were premeditated or impulsive? How significant do you think the role of Stephanie's husband was in escalating the situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. This is the story of 24-year-old Aniya Mack, who was in a very stable relationship and growing so fast in life, but nobody knew that her church pastor provided almost everything, including her monthly rent, until she disappeared from her apartment completely. When police arrived, they found blood on the carpet, which someone had attempted to clean. They could not locate Aniya alive or dead until one shocking Facebook post from someone asking the community to forgive him for what he had done. This is the heartbreaking case of Aniya Mack. We will uncover opportunities not taken that would have saved Aniya's life. Aniya Mack was born on February 8, 1994, to parents Loretta Rankin Bailey and Anthony Mack. She grew up in a large family with several siblings. The family resided in Muskegon Heights, Michigan. Aniya went to Muskegon Heights High School, where she immersed herself in numerous extracurricular activities. She was a captain of the majorettes in the marching band, while also participating on the cheerleading squad. And this is where she impressed a man who would later become her boyfriend. This man was not another student at Aniya's school. He was a 25-year-old named Donovan Lewis, a basketball player at Kalamazoo Community College. Having a successful boyfriend was not the only good feeling she had. More good things came for Aniya. She had recently received an exciting job offer to work with autistic children in Kalamazoo, a role that perfectly suited her caring nature. When Aniya unexpectedly missed work one day, her absence immediately raised concerns among coworkers and friends who knew this was not her nature. Friends reached out to her family with shocking news. Her father, Mr. Mack, tried to call her on her phone, but without success. So, he called her boyfriend Donovan, who revealed he hadn't heard from her in some time. Adding to the mystery, Donovan mentioned that Aniya had scheduled a meeting with another man. The man he mentioned was well-respected, popular in the community, very rich, and married. This man was Reverend Dr. Strickland, who served at Kalamazoo's Second Baptist Church, and also the president of the Metropolitan Kalamazoo branch of the NAACP. However, when contacted, the pastor confirmed he hadn't seen or spoken with Aniya in quite a while, deepening the family's concerns. On June 28, 2018, after discovering that neither Aniya's friends, boyfriend, nor pastor knew of her whereabouts, Mr. Mack contacted the Kalamazoo Police Department to report his daughter missing. Officers were dispatched to Aniya's apartment building to conduct a welfare check. After receiving no response to their knocks, they entered the premises. What they discovered was deeply troubling. Bloodstains on the carpet. Further investigation using blue light analysis revealed attempts to conceal evidence through the use of bleach and other cleaning agents. The carpet was subsequently collected and taken to the crime laboratory for DNA analysis to identify the owner of the blood. Inside the apartment, investigators found multiple alcohol bottles in both the living room and bedroom, suggesting Aniya had recently entertained visitors. But they did not know who. Neighbors informed police that Donovan Lewis, Aniya's boyfriend, was a frequent visitor to her residence, though they noted they had never heard any disputes between the couple. During Lewis's interview at the police station, he made significant allegations about Aniya's personal life. He claimed she was involved in a relationship with her married pastor, Reverend Strickland. According to Lewis, his suspicions were aroused by what he perceived as unusual generosity from the pastor, including providing Aniya with a vehicle, making frequent visits to her apartment, and covering her rent payments. To support his claims, Lewis stated he had preserved evidence of inappropriate communication, specifically a screenshot of an inappropriate text message sent from the pastor to Aniya on June 16, 2018. Lewis showed investigators an text from the pastor that read, "I'm trying to offer you the best of your life, but you're running from it." The pastor strongly denied any impropriety, explaining that his assistance to Aniya was consistent with the support he provided to other church members in need.
We live in a disadvantaged, impoverished community where people are suffering, and we try to help people as often as we can. How dare we be able to offer bread to our brother that's starving and not help him? So yes, we do that as the Word of God instructs us to do. We share our resources, we exercise good stewardship, and do the best that we can to help as many people along the way. And it's very unfortunate that that is being seen as something negative, even in light of all of this.
He maintained that financial aid and general support were standard practices in his ministry. Regarding the day of Aniya's disappearance, the pastor provided an alibi, stating that while he had briefly seen her that day, he had spent the remainder of his time with his wife. Just as investigators were preparing to verify this account with the pastor's wife, they received a crucial tip from one of Aniya's acquaintances about a disturbing Facebook post by Donovan Lewis, Aniya's boyfriend. The post contained what appeared to be a confession. It read, "I just hope all of you can forgive me. I apologize to anyone that ever looked up to me and loved me." This alarming development prompted investigators to immediately proceed to Lewis's residence in the 4100 block of West Michigan Avenue for further questioning. When officers arrived at the residence Lewis shared with his grandmother, Lewis emerged with his hands behind his back, seemingly anticipating arrest. He told the officers, "Just take me in, and we'll talk about it on the way." When the detective responded, "Just tell me now," Lewis confessed to killing Aniya Mack. At the police station, Lewis provided the horrific details of June 24, 2018. He explained that he and Aniya had been drinking at her apartment when, under the influence of alcohol, he confronted her about her alleged relationship with the pastor. The confrontation escalated, and Lewis, in a violent outburst, struck Aniya in the face, rendering her unconscious. He then took a large kitchen knife and fatally wounded her by cutting her throat. In an attempt to conceal his crime, Lewis wrapped Aniya's body in garbage bags and placed it in a suitcase. Initially, he disposed of the suitcase in his apartment complex's dumpster, but before the morning, he retrieved it and transferred it to his mother's vehicle. Lewis was arrested that same day and held in the Kalamazoo County Jail on murder charges. He later led investigators to a stream off East Main Street in Comstock Township, where he had left the suitcase containing Aniya's body for 4 days. On June 29, 2018, authorities recovered her remains, which had been preserved by the cold water and mud, showing minimal decomposition. Lewis claimed that Strickland had threatened Aniya for allegedly blackmailing him. After an all-expenses-paid trip to Strickland's native Mississippi, Aniya had told Lewis she was blackmailing Strickland to get her rent paid and that she had threatened to tell Strickland's wife about the affair. Lewis was later charged with second-degree murder, to which he later entered a plea deal. The investigation into Lewis's claims about Aniya's relationship with her pastor proved unfounded, as detectives found no evidence to support allegations of an affair. Investigators found that Aniya was driving a Chevrolet Malibu that might have been owned by Strickland. On July 19th, Strickland had called the Kalamazoo Police Department to inquire about the Chevy Malibu. Strickland explained to police that the vehicle was owned by his wife, Jasmonique, but he could not locate the title for the vehicle. He further told police that he spoke with Aniya prior to her death, and she said the title was folded up in the center console of the Malibu. Strickland also said he purchased the car with his wife, but they never registered the car, although they did insure the car. The car was not released to Strickland by the police. A police report released also stated that Strickland purchased a cell phone for Aniya and paid her rent on at least one occasion. On September 19, 2018, just 3 days before his scheduled trial, Lewis made a desperate attempt to escape custody. During a recreational soccer game with 2 fellow inmates, he suddenly bolted toward the security barrier and leaped over it. His escape attempt proved more determined than initially apparent. He managed to scale 2 additional gates, both topped with barbed and razor wire.
You can see those fences behind me. Now, the jail says there weren't any holes in the fence or under the fence. He actually jumped all 3 fences that are topped with sharp wire. All of local law enforcement was on high alert when Donovan Lewis went on the run. Stripped down to his underwear and tennis shoes, he was easy to spot, but hard to catch.
Something bad could have happened. We're very happy that it did not.
After more than 30 minutes, Lewis was located here, near the intersection of Bryant and Portage Street, a couple miles from the jail.
It's very rare that this happens. We are in the process of inspecting our fence to make sure this does not happen again, and I'm shocked that it happened to begin with at all.
However, his freedom was short-lived. After only 33 minutes, officers from the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety apprehended Lewis at the intersection of South Burdick Street and West Maple Street. When questioned about his escape attempt, Lewis claimed his actions weren't motivated by a desire to evade justice. Instead, he stated he was driven by concern for his family's safety because they were receiving death threats. In the Kalamazoo County Circuit Court on the 28th of October, 2019, Lewis made an appearance before Judge Paul Burdenstein.
2018, Lewis told police he fought with Mack and hit her, knocking her unconscious. Police reports show he cut her throat, put her body in a suitcase, and dumped it in Comstock Creek. He led police to her body 4 days later. Today in court, he apologized to Mack's family, saying he begins each day by praying for them. Mack's aunt also spoke, saying she's not ready to forgive.
During this hearing, the aunt of Aniya Mack, Lene Rankin, delivered an emotional victim impact statement.
You took something dear from us. You did. We can't get it back. And you got to live with that. And I hope you can. And I meant that. I haven't forgiven him. My sister, I haven't. And in time, I'm sure I will, but not now. I'm not ready.
Before sentencing Donovan Lewis, the judge delivered a powerful statement. Aniya Mack didn't deserve any of this. She didn't deserve to be struck. She didn't deserve to be rendered unconscious. And her body didn't deserve to be treated like less than garbage. All of this happened because of you, no one else. Lewis was subsequently sentenced to a prison term of 25 to 40 years for the second-degree murder of Aniya Mack. A vigil was held in honor of Aniya by her friends and family to celebrate her life and the woman she was.
They celebrated her love of song. They celebrated her love of dance. Brightly colored balloons and candles illustrate both the sadness of a lost friend and their knowledge that despite the unthinkable circumstances of her death, Aniya Mack would want them to remember her with a smile.
Giving to other people, being about other people, was her legacy and is her legacy, and that's what we want people to focus on.
Aniya Mack's life was tragically cut short, stolen far too soon. She deserved the opportunity to live her life fully, regardless of the circumstances. Donovan Lewis had no justification for his actions, and what he did to Aniya was both unjust and inexcusable. What do you think about the circumstances surrounding Aniya's death? Do you believe justice was served in this case? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. On the screen, I have 4 other videos more shocking than this one. I highly recommend you watch one of these. And I will talk to you in another one. It's bye for now.